This video focuses on the introduction of compare and contrast essays by looking at an example of an introduction to a compare and contrast essay. Now, as I've said, I recommend that you don't start your writing process for your own compare and contrast essay by writing the introduction. Even though it's the first thing that the reader will read, I don't think it should be the first thing that you write. And the reason why is that the thesis statement in this compare and contrast essay, it's going to be different than the thesis statement of the persuasive essay. In the persuasive essay, you started with a basic plan to change something, and the thesis statement said why you should do that, and it gave maybe a couple of reasons why the change should be instituted, because it'll save money and make people safer, for instance. But the thesis statement in the compare and contrast essay basically summarizes the differences or the similarities, or both, that you found when you compared and contrasted the two different things. So it helps to at least start writing the body paragraphs and start to compare and contrast the three aspects that you are focusing on, and find out how these two things are similar or different before you try to summarize that in your thesis statement in the introduction. All right, so now we're going to go through the introduction and look at its parts and how they fit together. My first week in Boston, I was walking down the sidewalk, 18 years old, fit, excited about a new city and the start of college, when a little gray-haired lady zoomed past me. Zooming past someone means to go a lot faster than someone right past them. She wasn't running, but her walking pace was almost twice as fast as mine. My jaw dropped in amazement, and then I looked around. She wasn't the only one. Almost everyone walking along Commonwealth Avenue moved much faster than I was used to. So, what is the beginning of this introductory paragraph? What do we call it? It's the same thing as in your persuasive essay. This is the hook. This is the very beginning of the essay that helps to capture the reader's attention and make them interested so they want to keep reading. And of course, it also has to be related to your topic. So in this case, the hook is a little bit of narrative writing, right? It's got a little bit of descriptive writing, but mostly it's telling a little story, right? We start with the time, my first week in Boston, and we're in a particular place. We're on the sidewalk. I was walking down the sidewalk in Boston. And then a little bit of description of the writer, 18 years old, fit, healthy, excited about a new city and the start of college. So we know why the writer is in college, why he's in Boston. He came here to go to school. When a little gray-haired lady, a little bit of descriptive writing, right? This lady is, she's a lady, she's shorter, and she has gray hair. A little gray-haired lady zoomed past me. Not running, but going almost twice as fast as me. My jaw dropped in amazement. Again, a little bit of description of how I looked. I was surprised, and you can see it in my face. My jaw dropped. And then I looked around, and I saw that she wasn't the only one. A lot of people on Commonwealth Avenue, along Commonwealth Avenue, were moving faster than I was used to. So this little story is the hook. It is trying to get the reader interested in this while also introducing the topic. Now, after the hook, it's the same as in the persuasive essay introduction. After the hook, you have relevant background information. You have the information that is needed for the reader to understand the rest of the essay. Now, that's up to you to decide what's important. In this case, I decided to explain why I was in Boston. Or, well, not why, but the fact that I had come to Boston from somewhere else. I had just arrived from South Florida, technically in the same country as Boston, right? They're both in the United States, but 1,400 miles distant. Very, very far geographically, even though it's in the same country. The two places not only have different climates and different landscapes, but also, as I discovered, different cultures. Okay? So after the hook, where we see one example of a difference, how I was surprised by how fast everybody was walking. Everybody was walking a lot faster than me. Then we have the background information. I'd just come to Boston from somewhere else, from South Florida, a place that is different in climate and landscape and also in culture, which is the important thing because I'm comparing the cultures in two different places. Comparing and contrasting the cultures of Boston and Florida. That's the title. And here is the last sentence of the introduction. In Florida, the heat seems to affect every aspect of the culture, from fashion to recreation to personalities, making Floridians more relaxed than the focused Bostonians I found in the crisp autumn air. Crisp means cool and dry, so the air feels cold and dry. So this last sentence of the introduction, just like in your persuasive essay, the last sentence is the thesis statement. This is the one sentence that gives the main idea of the whole paragraph, or the whole essay, right? So in Florida, heat seems to affect every aspect of the culture, from fashion, recreation, to personalities, making Floridians more relaxed than the focused Bostonians that I found. So Floridians are more relaxed than Bostonians, who are more focused. That's the main idea of the whole essay. And then you can see how I'm going to explain that difference by focusing on these three aspects of the culture: fashion, recreation, and personalities. So remember, the thesis statement is very important. It lets the reader know what your main idea is. But you don't need to start your writing process by writing it, because you may not be sure yet what you're going to find are the differences and what the differences and similarities are between the two things that you're comparing and contrasting. But we can see how the thesis statement fits with the body paragraphs, right? So Floridians are more relaxed. From fashion to recreation to personalities, we can see this. Here's the topic sentence of the first body paragraph. The first and most obvious difference between South Florida and Boston involved clothing. So we're going to see how Floridians are more relaxed than Bostonians in terms of clothing. And then, although many people in both places enjoy outdoors recreation, the contrasting climates make different activities popular. So we're going to see how Florida is more relaxed and Bostonians are more focused in terms of outdoor recreation. And finally, the recreation may be related to the final cultural difference, which is that the differing climates even seem to influence the personalities or outlooks of the people who live in each place. In Florida, the people are relaxed, unhurried. In Boston, people seem more driven, more focused on their goals, more ambitious maybe. So this is about personalities, or the way people view life, look at life. This is about outdoors recreation. Florida's focused on the beach, and Massachusetts does stuff in the snow. And people in Massachusetts seem more serious about their recreation, focused on exercising or seeing as much nature as possible rather than taking it easy. And in clothing, Florida, people wear beach wear all the time in public. You'll even find people barefoot. While in Boston, people wear long sleeves, sweaters, jackets. This makes everyone seem a little more formal, right? Not so relaxed. So all three body paragraphs are related to this thesis statement at the end of the introduction. All right. I hope that all makes sense and helps you to write your own introductions to your compare and contrast essays after you've started to think about the similarities and differences between the two things you're comparing. After you've started to think about what's in the body paragraphs, then you can write a good thesis statement, and then also a good hook and background information which prepare the reader to understand the thesis statement. All right.